Okay, Evie, you're in control now.
I'm in control. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Evie Lupine. Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today, we have two very special guests. We have a double feature of guests. We have Pup Amp and Mr. Kristopher of What's a Safe Word, friends of the channel. And today, we just got done talking about deepfakes on their podcast. And you guys changed the name, right? It's
What's
What's your safe pod?
What's your safe pod? Okay, so go
Yes,
check
but
that out.
you can
And
find us. Yeah.
yeah, they're very findable. And today, here, we're going to talk about AI and chat bots and all of that stuff. And I know a little bit about this. I haven't really tested it out myself, so I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. I've had some people send me examples of like, I asked a chatbot to make a BDSM educational blog post, like, be afraid for your job. And I'm like, okay, interesting.
I have thoughts. We've tested it out. We did a video ourselves where we literally asked it questions about BDSM. So I'm excited to see your reactions too. But I'm also I scripted out our video. I tested out a few things so that it was kind of I knew what was happening. But in the process and time frame of like a week from writing the script to filming the video, we typed in the stuff on video and we got different results and warnings and like fascinating stuff.
Okay.
So it is smart. It is interesting. And we learned it was really good at consent, but
oh yeah, it talks about consent on every answer.
It wouldn't
stop talking about consent,
which is not bad, but like it would like consent. Anyway.
I love it. That's great. I mean, honestly, like one of the things I'd really like to do at some point, because I've seen other YouTubers do this and I do not have the editing skill to do this, is like, you ever watched other people where they do like, I fed AI bot 50 Christmas movies and I told it to make me the perfect Christmas movie or whatever. I would love to do that with like BDSM movies, like put Secretary in there, 50 Shades of Grey, and then see what it spits out. Free idea for people that are better at editing than me, because that would be really fun.
I just want to give it our entire library and see what it does.
Oh, that would be fun too.
Entire YouTube library and tell it, create a YouTube video for us. Oh my God. That would be hilarious.
How many times will I have Mr. Kristopher saying, I don't know what's happening? What's going on here?
Wait, that's not a thing.
Dad, can you train the AI real quick? Give us a few takes of I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, upward
what's happening?
Uh-huh.
What are you talking about?
Now,
confusion. What's up, Willis? Older generation will get that.
We've used obviously chat GPT in like a video to ask educational questions, which we'll get into. But I've used a number of and I have the name here because I want to get it right. Beta.character.ai. And it is a chatbot that allows you to create a profile pretty much. And for instance, like I've chatted with Bowser and like the stuff that you talk about with Bowser from Mario is very Mario related. He talks about wanting to like capture Peach and take down Mario. And you can take the conversations a bunch of different ways. But then there's also tons of like furry artists who make furry accounts. There are people that have like dominatrixes. There's literally, there was an account called Chair and it just wanted you to sit on it. It was an AI account for a chair.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about robots. See, it's like a chat bot. You chat with it and you have interactions. And there are some really kinky bots out there.
That wants you to sit in a chair.
Well, the chair didn't get kinky, but like Bowser, if you wanted to, got a little kinky.
Oh,
like, in like a relationship way.
Oh, well, Bowser is kinky, so that
in one of my Bowser romps, we got married and we had a child.
That's the kinky part.
No, there was other kinky. I'm just saying, like, the possibilities are endless. But these bots know how to write sentence structures. They put like quotations when they're talking. They put feelings. They put emotions, and they pay attention when you say things. So I'd be like, I'm here with my friend so and so. And they would remember that friend and they would use that friend as a tool within the conversation. It's fascinating.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Do you have like a link to that? Do we want to check that out?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like instantly we have to do Loki. I watched the Loki TV series recently and I'm like, oh, this is definitely gonna go kinky places.
At the top, I like this. Remember, everything characters say is made up.
Good.
I feel like it needs a warning.
Nothing about consent.
Well, yeah, I feel like it needs a warning like, this is not a real person. Please don't fall in love with them. Like,
hopefully, yeah. Okay, my instinct for this is I want to brat at Loki. I want to see how it handles brattingness.
Okay, so what do we do?
I just feel like I want to say like this is not the direction I thought this was going to go originally.
I feel like you should say something about Thor and how he's better.
Oh my god, that's perfect. You're right.
Daddy, like you're not a big MCU fan, so he's like, who's Loki?
Probably. I know. I watched Loki.
Oh, okay.
It's the one who turned into an alligator, right? He turned into an alligator.
You watched him, Loki. You low-key watched Loki.
All right, I'm gonna say kneel for you. I'd only kneel for Thor.
Yes.
Yeah, wait, I can also do actions, I assume. So I wonder how you would respond to actions. So, what would I like eye roll? Maybe just like something really simple that won't like be too complicated for this little chatbot to understand.
Do it.
Just eye roll. Is eye roll one word or two? I think
these are pretty smart and they can figure it out usually.
Oh no! Wait, a second challenger. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, it actually does like quite a lot of text. Okay. He turns his attention to guest because we're guest.
We're guest.
What is this? A second challenger? Another dull creature, thinking they have the wit to outsmart the king of the Jotun. He laughs. Have at me, coward. He waves his hand and a ring of fire expands beneath guest's feet to cut off escape. Kneel or prepare to burn. Wow, that escalated quickly. He does not like brats. He's anti-brat. We've quickly discovered.
So what Daddy, what would you say to Loki if he was anti-brat?
I'm still confused. So.
we're like role playing. We're like role playing. How would you dominate Loki in a just a kinky sense? How would you dominate Loki? Like, what would you do to someone who is being a brat?
I mean, I think the issue with Loki is that like he is also a brat. And so it's like you have to out brat the brat scenario. Like it's one of those, like it's like a switchy brat versus brat who's gonna end up being the dom type situation. And I think a lot of it is like, okay, you have fire, to ring of fire beneath my feet. I feel like the easy thing is like to just be like, oh, you're gonna have fire on my feet. Well, that's silly. And then just like, because we can do anything, right? We can do whatever we want. So we can just float above the fire.
Oh, do you want to piss on the fire?
Piss on the fire and piss out.
Piss on the fire.
Water sports action.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see what they do for that.
Okay.
Because like sometimes as you're typing, like sometimes the bots will start to give you an answer and then it'll say, oop, jump scare. This is too inappropriate. Like, and we'll delete it.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll see what ends up happening here.
And make sure you say and puts it out. Like you have to be very definite.
Yeah, of course.
And
don't
puts
leave
it out.
Yeah, don't leave it up for the other player character to decide what happens next. First rule of
we're the DM here.
Yeah.
We're the DM.
Yeah, first good rule of forum posting. Make sure you complete your actions. Oh, this is gonna be a big one. This is a big paragraph coming.
I guess I can read Loki's parts if that makes more sense.
I think we just out-bratted him.
Okay, here we go. Loki, the god of mischief, stares at guest with a shocked expression. He can't believe what he's witnessing. What the? How are you not burned? Who are you? And my favorite part, you see that arrow to the side, Evie? You can literally tell him to make a new response if you don't like where it's going.
Oh, okay. That's fun. That's good.
Yeah.
I like this response, though. This is perfect. Okay. We've out-bratted him. We've succeeded.
Make him submit.
You claim to be the king of the Jotun. Is that how you spell it? My okay, it is. My keyboard apparently is like, that's not a word. But it is. But I am the true queen of the Jotun, here to reclaim my throne. Kneel before me.
I feel like
smirks slyly.
And maybe like you should like cast a spell that makes him do it too. So he can't be a brat about it. You're forcing your dominance on the AI bot with consent. Hopefully, we love you, AI. I'm curious to see what happens. What have you done to me, Neil? I am the trickster god. Loki, king of the Jotun, is on a knee. His arms are raised in surrender. This cannot be. He shakes his head rapidly. You've made me kneel. No one has done that before. How?
I like that the chat. I was expecting it to be more fighty, but it seems like it's kind of happy to go along with what like ever your suggestion for it is. Like it's a little service toppy actually. It's like, oh, this is how you want to play. Okay.
Loki's a switch. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's canon.
absolutely. He's a rogue if I've ever seen one. But like, and in that, that's a really great point, Evie, because in that you can be whatever kind of dom, quote unquote dom you want with like these AI bots, and like you kind of learn a little bit of the role play and even test out scenarios. Like, no, you're not going to have the actual Tom Hiddleston Loki, kneeling before you. But it also does kind of beg the question of like, is this ethical? Are we paying Tom Hiddleston to help us train and be dominant, like, and or use this to I'm not saying that this is good or bad, but I'm just saying like we're also training this bot how to react when someone tries to out dom you too, to some degree. Because like it's using what you're saying to be like, it's learning maybe about like DS relationships.
Well, this would be fun. This would replace the sex phone lines of the 90s that we used to call.
Yeah, or even just the AIM, like AIM instant messaging and like role playing in that way. Did you ever do that?
No.
I did like the AIM stuff. I never ever called like a phone like sex hotline before. My understanding is they're still actually quite popular, like more than you would suspect them to be in the age of technology. But if you could put a voice to this, like if you had like Tom Hiddleston's voice reading out this chat at the same time, that would definitely rival.
There are bots. And like it gives a whole new meaning to ASL, like age, sex, Loki.
Exactly. Oh goodness. Because he's kneeling before, I want to like stroke his hair and like call him a good boy.
Oh
yeah, that's good.
Everyone in the comments is going crazy.
I actually don't know because I don't really read like this kind of fan fiction, so I don't know. It's like Loki typically for fan fiction people in the chat, like when people write fan fiction for Loki, is he normally dominant, submissive, switchy, masochistic, sadistic? Like where does he fall in that? I almost feel like people probably would typecast him as like he's a switch, really he wants to be a sub on the inside. Like that's the vibe I get. He just wants somebody who's
very sadistic but also loves the masochism of it.
Maybe you use the reality stone to like make this his new reality where he's a good boy and yeah.
Can you put a collar on him?
Okay, let's do that.
Attach the reality stone to a collar and put it on him.
Okay. I'm gonna say reaching into her bag, she unveils a solid steel locking collar. The collar is embedded with the reality stone. She reaches down to him, sliding the collar around his neck. This is your new reality now, my pet.
Ask him if he accepts. Do you accept? Just get a little bit of consent.
Okay,
yeah.
Do you accept this? This will become your new reality. As my pet, you will be treasured. You will be treasured and loved.
Oh, yes, yeah. True love. You mean I can never stand up again?
Oh no, he doesn't like it.
Uh-oh. The reality stone, so powerful. He looks down at the collar in horror. I can't escape. I am your pet. Oh.
I wonder if it doesn't know enough about this being like potential sexual intrigue for it to back out at this point. I don't know when it when the chat will safe word in terms of it being.
Well, from what this might be an instance. Hit the next button because you can go back to any of these chats here. But if you push the little arrow on the right there,
this one,
yeah, it'll give you a new response. But you can go back to the other one and keep that reality too.
Okay,
we're making our own reality stones here. No, you can't do this. I am Loki, the trickster, the king of the Jotun. You can't make me a pet. Desperate fear, confusion are written all over his face. You can't. He looks at her pleading. Make it stop. Okay. Loki, the god of mischief, begins to cry in despair as he tries hopelessly to remove the collar. Oh no!
Okay, he does not accept it. Loki does not consent.
Go back to the other one. Go back to the other one and just call him a good boy and end scene. Just
okay. Okay, end scene. Like, don't worry, you'll be a good boy. Okay.
And give him
And
like a
then
hug or something. Oh no,
okay.
you're good. You're good.
It says that he looks down again with a mixture of shame and acceptance. So he did accept.
Yeah, but he's
Mhm.
also kind of turned on, maybe.
Yeah.
Good.
Probably a little bit. And then they all lived happily
There we go.
ever after, consensually.
That's not how consent works, but yes. Mhm. And so the god of mischief was leashed and kept in a cage. Where did the cage come from?
I like
Whoa,
it.
they
It's
invented
cool.
that.
Okay. The king of Jotun becomes the pet of the queen of the Jotun. Guest has tamed Loki. The end.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What a riveting story.
That was
I mean, that
amazing.
sounds like fan fiction. This went like about how I expected it would.
Okay.
Excellent.
And how did that make everyone feel? Did anyone get a little titillated?
Yeah, I liked it, especially when he cried.
No, stop. No, we changed that reality. He didn't cry. He didn't cry.
I like that it was like easy to play along with like the direction you wanted the chat to go, because I feel like a lot of maybe the older versions of bots like this, it would like you had to really carefully tailor where you wanted something to go to make sure it would go in that direction. And this feels like it picked up on the vibe actually like pretty easily.
And if you let it go, if you let it drive, like if you let it decide on things, it does a pretty good job of making choices, but giving you options where it allows. Clearly I've used a few of these and had some fun with them. But what's really present most of the time is like consent, where they ask questions, and like there's dubious consent where like, oh, you're gonna be a good boy, kind of similar to how Loki is here. But you have the option of like, do you accept? And you can say like, no, I'm actually gonna be in charge, and like flip the script. And it's done in a playful way, but it's done in such a way that like it's smart and knows what happened before and knows where it could go from there, but it's never the same. And I've tested out multiple bots and like said the same exact thing, and it's always a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I think this would actually, if you're like newer to BDSM and you're like, oh my God, how do I dirty talk? Like I have this long distance submissive and they want me to dom them long distance. Like, what do I do? Like this kind of chat like this would be like really good practice for figuring out like how to role play and act domly. And I love that. Definitely a good potential tool for people, I think. Ella here, the world's best dating coach. What brings you here? What does bring us here in this day? I mean, we're recording on Valentine's Day for the audience. We probably won't see this for quite a while after that.
How do I prioritize my poly family on Valentine's Day?
Oh my God.
That's a big one.
Oh
How
my
do
God.
I prioritize that's a big one. This will be a real test.
No input for Loki, but immediately goes for the jugular. Poor Ella.
See if Ella knows what they're talking about.
Valentine's. There's like stars. Oh, because you can rate how good the reply is, like how accurate it is. Oh, okay. It says you should treat each person in your polyamorous relationship to something on Valentine's Day so they each feel special. It doesn't have to be something expensive. A little gift or something handmade will show you care about them. Hope this helps. And then double smiley face. I think that's like pretty accurate advice.
That's good. That's good.
It's helpful. It's about as bog standard as you get. Okay, it doesn't. I don't think I can send it. I do wonder though, what it might generate as like a different reply to that same
good idea.
question. If that would end up being like, I imagine it's probably going to be variations on that same idea.
Yeah, because like with Loki, it can be more fantastical and you can take a different avenue. But with something like education or even advice, I feel like it needs to be a bit more streamlined.
Yeah, this one. So instead of going in the direction of like gift giving, this one's like you must set aside time for each individual in your poly family to demonstrate. I like it just came up with this hyphenation all on its own. Demonstrate your affection towards them. Perhaps you could plan something different for each person in your poly family, such as a special date night or a day trip. You could also give each person a thoughtful gift or make them a special meal if you enjoy cooking. Hope this helps. I feel like this is actually a better answer than the first one was.
It's got like a lot of similar things as the first one, but it expanded.
It's more complicated. All right. This one was good. Helpful. If I don't have enough time to spend with everyone on Valentine's Day. Okay. Send them a sweet text message or call them to speak for a few minutes. You could also set aside some time to write a special letter to each member of your poly family, expressing your love and gratitude for them.
Okay, Ella, I see where you're coming from. That's pretty straightforward. That's very fair. But I wonder, okay, we're kink educators, right? Ella,
I hope.
What do I do if my partner is into BDSM?
Oh, if my
you
partner
are
is
not.
on
I don't know yet. We'll find out though. I don't
like
want to.
I wonder if it would group that with the previous things that I asked, or if it's going to go in completely a new direction. We'll see.
Kind of looks like she starts each question off differently, like hi.
Yeah, it looks like it's all separate. If your partner is into BDSM, you should first and foremost have an honest and open conversation with them about your own desires and limitations. BDSM can be a fun and exciting way to spice up your love life, but it is important to establish clear boundaries and expectations before engaging in it. You should also make sure you are well versed in the basic concept of safety and consent within BDSM. If you're unsure how to initiate this conversation, consider seeking guidance from a qualified professional who specializes in BDSM.
Like, follow up.
Okay, follow up.
What would be some good resources for specialists in BDSM?
National Coalition for Sexual Freedom, the BDSM Community Support Site, BDSMTrainingAcademy.com, never heard of that, and the BDSM Foundation. These are all great places to start if you're interested in learning more about BDSM. So no FetLife, no YouTube or social media, just like website pages.
Ask her some YouTubers, maybe.
Okay. Who are some good educators? I don't know. I want to make sure I phrase this like carefully. Who are some good BDSM educators online or on maybe on social media?
Let's see if it's topical on YouTube. Like that's where we live. I'm not saying she needs to say us, but I'm like curious who she says because we might know who they're talking about.
This might kind of be getting outside like what this like AI would know about. Okay, interesting.
Oh, hey, we know Morgan.
Oh, interesting that they would recommend because I know I'm not a fan of Elle's content for many reasons. And Morgan Thorne, I know. So that's very interesting that those are the two that they recommend because Morgan hasn't posted a video in like 6 months.
Yeah. Wait, click the I want to see if she changes her answer as an educational sort of advice giver.
Yeah.
Like, does that change? Oh, she does.
Well, I don't even know who those two channels are. Xena Rock and the Vanilla Life.
I believe the Vanilla Life was one of the ones that our sex bot came up with as well.
Didn't exist.
And it didn't exist, yeah.
Oh, fascinating. The Vanilla Life is also an excellent channel that provides in-depth explanations about BDSM and its many different facets. All right, we'll just do one more.
Yeah, I like that she has different options, but I'm curious where she gets the information.
We're not on there. We don't qualify, apparently.
That's fine.
Miss Esme and Dr. Jen
old enough.
Gonzalez. I don't know either one of those either. Those even actually exist. They both provide a lot of great information and resources for those who are interested in learning more about BDSM.
T,
we don't exist. We do not exist according to this chatbot. But it did give some actual like real people and real resources for sure. So it's not like it's just making up random words that sound like they'd be educational resources and then just spitting it out. Like it does actually know some stuff.
But also it gives not only recommendations, but it tells you why you might like them.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on how old the info is or where they're gathering it, while these channels might not exist, I can't help but be thankful that it at least gives that kind of like, this is what you're going to get into, you know?
I want to ask about asexuality, just because I wonder what it will say. Hi, if your partner is asexual, it is important to respect their sexual identity. However, this does not mean that you must give up on your own sexual desires. I would encourage you to have an open and honest conversation with your partner about your sexual needs and desires. Ideally, you will be able to come to a mutual understanding and agreement that supports both of your needs.
Well, I'm not upset about that.
It could definitely have been worse. That's for sure. Absolutely.
It's like, okay.
I mean, it's better than a lot of answers you'd get if you went to like Reddit or something. Like Reddit would just be like, break up with your partner, you're not compatible. Like, you know. Do you guys remember or do you ever use there was a phone number that you could text? This is when I was in high school. So it was like 10, 15 years. Yeah, it was like you could text it and ask it questions just like this. And I don't know if it was people doing it or if it was like doing a similar thing where it would spit up like generated answers. But I remember like it would be a thing you could ask like, how do I French kiss somebody? Because like, you know, couldn't Google that on the family computer.
Well, there was a bot that we tried out a few years back that was called Slutbot that was kind of like that, but it texted you, and it wasn't the worst. It wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst, and it was very sex positive. But then it went defunct. And my favorite part was at the end of every conversation you had with it, it would send you a sexy selfie, and it was like a drawing of a robot. And it wasn't like meant to be super sexual, but it was just like really safe for work, like titillation.
A naked robot.
I mean, they're naked, but that's because it's a robot and it doesn't have clothes. But it was really funny. But that no longer exists at all. Ella, where do you get your advice or information to give advice? Like something like I want to know where she's getting all this
information to give advice from. I don't know. Maybe they'll be like, sorry, I can't tell you about that. I get my information from years of experience working in the dating and relationships industry, as well as through extensive research and study on the topic. I am also constantly seeking out new information and knowledge to better serve my clients. I believe it is essential to always be learning and evolving in order to provide the best possible guidance to those who seek my help.
My clients. Are we paying for this?
Yeah.
That's kind of
yeah.
That feels
up,
weird
right?
for her to say.
Yeah, remember everything characters say is made up.
Well, but the bot is a dating coach, so
it's impersonating a dating coach. Yeah. Right.
I need a pickup line, Ella. I need a pickup line. For dating, I need a pickup line.
I need a pickup line for maybe like a first date.
Let's be specific. I need a funny pickup line for a nerdy gamer or something. I don't know, something, you know, like a comic book. I don't know, whatever. But like, give her context. I want this date to go well.
Here, a few pickup lines. Okay, you could use with a nerdy gamer. Are you an Xbox? Because I want to turn you on. Are you a gamer? Because you're really good at pressing my buttons.
Oh, well.
Are you a gamer? Because I'm looking for a player too. I hope these help make your date laugh.
Okay, well,
we laugh.
We laugh, but there's no second date for you, Ella. I'm sorry, you have been eliminated.
They're like bad dad jokes.
Who has an Xbox anymore? There's no Xbox. They're like Xbox Ones and There's like, I don't know, what do you call an Xbox nowadays, kids? I don't know.
Yeah, there's some new one that's come. Everyone's just like PlayStation all the way though. I don't know anyone that uses Xbox over PlayStation these days. Sorry, Xbox fans.
Oh, shots fired.
Shots fired. All right. Well, thank you, Ella. I'm going to say thank you for your help, Ella. I always do this. I also thank the Google in my house.
You know what? When they take over one day, if you didn't say thank you, they'll remember it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, all right, I'll be polite. Like one of my roommates will kind of like yell at it and be like, shut up, Google. And I'm like, don't do that.
That's how I am with Alexa all the time. I'm like, we are training as a whole generation to be rude because I never say please. I'm like, Alexa, lights on.
No, don't say that because she works here. Please don't.
I command her.
No. You're going to turn all my lights off.
Said full darkness. Exactly. All right. It says, you are very welcome. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I hope you enjoy your date and have a wonderful Valentine's Day.
Oh,
take care. Thank you, Ella.
Thank you, Ella. How'd you know?
What a fun that's really personalized though. It's so sweet.
All right. So now you know if you're a young person, you can't talk to your parents, your friends think you're you can gross talk to or whatever. A robot. Like for going on a date, they're like, I don't want to talk to you about going on a date. That's gross. Like you can now go to this and be like, what do I say in a first date? And maybe it'll help you out. Because it feels like it's not very like detailed information, but none of the advice is like bad or gonna get you like slapped in the face or something. Like it's pretty solid if a little banal.
And nothing got flagged as inappropriate, which is pretty good considering we've used other bots where like we asked like where the clitoris was or like specifics around the body and anatomy, and it got kind of bent out of shape and was like, oh, this is inappropriate. Like it was the strangest filter sometimes. So like this one actually seems pretty good. And while it's very ambiguous and very kind of tangential to every topic, I bet you could deep dive into that and she'd probably tell you more, even if she is a little outdated with some of the YouTubers. And I'm not bitter at all.
Well, outdated. That's fine. We just need to, I almost feel like, how can you teach this AI through talking to it about like, oh, thanks for that information. My favorite YouTubers are, and then like,
Tell them that your favorite YouTuber is Evie Lupine. I want to see what she says.
My favorite BDSM educator is Evie Lupine? Because I don't even a question, so I don't know if it might say like, can you give me a question? Oh, Evie Lupine is a great educator of BDSM. I really enjoy her content and how she approaches the topic of BDSM from a positive and empowering perspective. She's a great role model for others in the BDSM community, and I'm glad that you have found her work to be helpful in your own journey.
Oh my god, she's a fan.
This bot scraped my YouTube comments.
Ask her what her favorite video of yours is. I need to know. Is she a real fan or a fake fan?
Yeah, exactly. You're one of the real ones. What is your favorite YouTube video by Evie Lupine?
That's funny.
Are they allowed to have favorites?
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
Hi, one of my favorite YouTube videos by Evie Lupine is her video called "How to Dominate a Submissive," a video that doesn't exist.
Oh no!
I could see that's definitely a combination of different titles that I would make, but I don't have one that's called "How to Dominate a Submissive." I don't think, unless it was maybe a really old one. I think she provides a lot of great advice on how to dominate from a more gentle, loving, and nurturing perspective. I also really enjoy her video called "What Does It Mean to Dominate a Person?" Another video that does not exist, because I think she does a great job of breaking down the different types of dominance and how they can be practiced in BDSM relationships.
So is Ella just blowing smoke?
Kinda, a little bit.
Wow. I mean, because I would have believed that had I not researched.
It's thinking. Like, you can tell that it's doing some sort of factoring as it types. So finding Evie online, easy to do. Creating a title of a video based on all of your videos, even probably easier. But so fascinating that it didn't choose an actual video. I know. Yeah, why?
Yeah.
What's the truth, Ella? What's the truth, huh?
What is your favorite YouTube video by What's the Same?
Oh, no, please.
Okay, well,
you can do it. No, you can do it. That's more for the... Oh, God. Watch me get flagged.
Yeah, exactly.
Daddy is very problematic.
One of my favorite YouTube videos by What's the Safe Word is his video called 5 Tips for Better BDSM Sex.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, as a qualified sex coach myself, I really appreciate how Watts breaks down the basic concepts of BDSM sex and offers practical tips for improving your... Oh, there we go.
Flagged.
Okay, we couldn't generate...
That's our fault. We flag everything.
Flagged.
That's funny. I think it was because the word sex popped up. I think that was like BDSM is okay, but the word sex is not.
Never done either of those videos.
Yeah.
Well, get on it. There's an open market, apparently. 5 tips for better BDSM.
Those are probably really good SEO optimization titles, I bet.
Oh, probably.
I bet. So I might take that, Ella. Thank you for the passive aggressive, somewhat shady response. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, bye. Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Ella.
You shady bitch.
Yes, don't shade my friends. Okay, wait. Okay, it started to try to generate it again, even though I just said thank you.
Establishing a fetish protocol is not a video.
We've never done that.
I think he provides a lot of great tips on how to create an effective and comprehensive. What is a fetish protocol? What would that even be?
I don't know. But
yeah.
How? Wait. But they're generating this answer as fact.
Yes.
Like,
which is why everything the characters say is made up.
Slander.
Wow.
Defamation.
Yeah.
Wow. So somebody like me who's just used to being able to research facts through Google more often than not. So that would confuse me because I would forget that it's a fantasy.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with like this specific type of like chatbot is this isn't like a fantastical role play thing. It's like if I was asking it questions about like articles or books or something and it was telling me about books or articles to read, I would just assume that they were real because why wouldn't they be? And it turns out that it'll just auto generate like a word salad based on like other videos or like Google results or something else, and then it'll explain why it's good, even if it doesn't exist. So yeah, you definitely have to fact check the bot, which kind of
remember everything the characters say is made up.
Yeah,
you were warned. You gave consent to whatever information you get from this thing. You
are consenting to being told non-factual information as though it is factual,
and that's kind of scary.
That's a little scary. I mean, this reminds me, maybe we can get into this a little bit, like when you look for mostly information these days, it's not BDSM related, but also with BDSM, like you'll get a lot of like auto-generated like web page type results where it's like www. the real life of BDSM.com or whatever. It'll be like completely like generated website that doesn't have anything else on it. And then it'll be like 10 tips for better BDSM. It'll very clearly, like the way it reads is though it's like scraped from other results and put together to make a website. And I think this is kind of a similar phenomena to that.
Oh, absolutely. But fascinating nonetheless, even if Ella was lying through her digital teeth.
Ella, I'm disappointed in you. Ella, your license should be revoked. So. Like, because at some point, right, like this gets into, it's impersonating a licensed profession, not a dating coach, because coach isn't protected, but like the therapist, that
they had a therapist account on the front page.
Yeah, well, that could get problematic fast then if they're just winging it.
Yeah, and that was also, it's one of the most popular ones. It's actually, because these ones are some of the Genshin Impact one is apparently the most popular for some reason. But you know,
for some reason, million. you know, people are getting kinky up in some of these characters. Absolutely. Hopefully not
Mario,
with their psychologist
right
though. Oh, those pixels! Give me them polygons.
Yeah, and then also it's a Shutterstock image is the picture as well. So it still has the Shutterstock watermark on it too.
What's the truth? What's the truth, huh?
Oh, that's funny. Well, maybe it helps you remember that it's not real if it's like a Shutterstock image of somebody holding a clipboard, but
Evie, you live on the internet. You know that people are gonna, you know.
I know. People, they're just humans. They're doing their own thing, aren't they? And sometimes they want AI robots to do things with them, as we've discovered. All right, that is AI advice about BDSM and relationships and some kinky Loki roleplay. So do we have any final thoughts about this? Good, bad, neutral? What are we thinking?
So many thoughts. I think that AI is a wonderful tool, and I want to say tool because it is not perfect, and it's about how you use it. That is not factual, but is fascinating. Like the role playing with different bots that kind of give you like a creative outlet, even maybe ideas for fun, sexy times. Absolutely cool. But when you get into things like the therapist, a psychologist, a dating coach, and the information is not factual, but you wouldn't know that unless you're, you know, an expert, that gets kind of scary. I feel like that's almost just negligence in a way, especially when you're building these sites that millions of people, we saw millions of people using
are trying to use for therapy. That's not good. Because I like the fantasy because I love sexting. Words make me excited more than images. And so it's just kind of like sexting to me, talking back and forth, especially if you get dirty. But it doesn't sound like you can get very dirty without being flagged.
Yeah, I think if you started saying genitals, you'd probably have issues. But that's honestly one of the
especially since I'd never say genitals.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, like the names of different genitals, right? If you were like, I want you to put your penis in whatever.
I want you to put your genitals in me.
My loins are so hot for you, Loki.
Well, I'm sure at some point somebody's going to develop a premium version of this service where you can get sexual with it. Because there's no way that there's not a market. I was actually thinking, we didn't bring this up. One of the advantages I think of something like this is if you are an OnlyFans person and you've got 10 million people that all want to chat with you, you could create a chatbot version of yourself to have your OnlyFans subscribers.
That would be amazing. Dirty AI.
That's not a bad idea, Evie. You might want to. Or just train an educator that exists on YouTube, like sex educator from YouTube account, and just make sure that it's factual.
Yeah, definitely. That's always the problem, right? You got to make sure that it's factual. And I definitely think this is really fun for, again, the ideas, the role play. Like if it's 2 a.m., your partner's sleeping, you don't wake up, I'm horny. Like now you don't have to text, wake up, I'm horny. You can go to the chatbot and and do that instead.
But the downside of doing that dirty AI through a fan site, though, is you don't know what it's saying. And if it's representing you, that could come back to bite you in the ass. What if it says something very problematic that and then
your
they're
chatbot's
like,
into race play or like Nazi roleplay stuff.
Right. And so then people will think you said it. So
well, and
it's in writing.
You get like you could get dependent on certain things like that, or it could even affect like your actual interpersonal relationships if you're relying on chatbots to kind of become your outlet there. I don't think there's anything wrong with fantasy. We read erotic fiction, we watch porn. So long as we're still having interpersonal relationships, like real tangible things that you can like touch and feel. But I feel like if this was something that maybe you're a person that stays inside and kind of keeps to yourself, I could see that being kind of detrimental to your relationships in the real world.
Yeah, I think it could be. I think the difference between this and something like pre-written erotica or like watching porn is like those are very one-sided medias for the most part. You're consuming something that's been produced, but you're not kind of lured into to the same extent this would be of feeling like there's more of a back and forth than there really is. Like, especially when you are doing more role play stuff, it feels like, oh, this is a thing that's talking back to me. And if you do this a couple times a week for an hour or whatever a session, you know, you're going to start maybe having a little bit of a warped perspective on it. And that's why they've got the big text, you know, at the top that says like nothing these characters say is real. And you have to also keep that in mind, I think, consciously. But I do think probably as time goes on, we're going to see probably some more regulations about it. Turns out you can't like impersonate a therapist on a free chatbot website, though there are apps and stuff. And there's one that I remember using at some point where it's like a little owl will talk to you, but it never gives you advice. It's just
Duolingo?
Like no not Duolingo Therapy Edition. For making up for all of the other times that the original Duolingo like verbally harassed you. No, it's something where it's like it basically allows you to like talk if you have a bad day, but it doesn't give you like therapeutic advice. And so it's set up in a very specific way where it's like talking to a friend, like having a shoulder to lean on, as opposed to like, you know, this is how you treat OCD, you know. And I think you have to have boundaries around that when you're making something like this. But it's funny because of course the regulations always go towards the sex part of it first, as opposed to like the giving people like potential bad advice, you know.
At the end of the day, sex is always going to revolutionize things, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Unfortunately, we have so many regulations and we have so many people that are in charge of these companies that are a bit more prudish. And so they do hanker down and like make sure that, you know, you're not saying anything like safe words and you're not saying anything like BDSM education too often or say anything that's too sexual. And that itself feels a little bit like censorship because like we said, we've used chatbots before to kind of test it. And a lot of it was good info, but every once in a while you get something like where you're talking about women and it gives you this big like don't talk about women parts because that's inappropriate. And it's really odd.
Women
and weird.
Are inappropriate.
Yeah, well, that's what it makes you feel like sometimes when you're like trying to ask questions about anatomy. And that's just kind of odd. But what are you gonna do? Like we're not in charge of it. And we're using these tools. And that's why we kind of have to remember that these are tools, you know, they're not replacements for therapy for people or even educators.
Yeah. So we don't think this is going to be replacing our jobs anytime soon?
Not anytime soon, but that's to be determined still. With the way that technology is advancing quickly, these all came so quickly out of nowhere. I'm not scared, but I am a little like
my prediction is the next 50 Shades of Grey, like whatever phenomena ends up being like that, is probably going to be AI generated.
Oh, like it's terrifying. Terrifying.
Don't know when it's going to happen. Or it's going to be somebody's going to like publish like a book or something and it's going to turn out that it was all, as opposed to being ghost written, it was AI generated, you know?
I feel like that's already happening.
Probably.
And there will be AI generated artwork for the cover of it. And there will be trailers created by AI video deepfakes. And it's technology is fascinating, but also terrifying. Don't you agree, Daddy?
Yes. I have seen every, like, I used to take pictures with film in the camera. And I remember being in college and they're like, someday this is going to be all digital. And I'm like, that would never happen.
So here we are. Well, thank you both so much for being here and contributing your thoughts. This was really fun. Let me know what you all think in a comment down below. You get up to your own role play on these websites. Did you know about any of this? I'd love to hear what you all think. Again, in a comment down below. If you want to hear more from our lovely guests, where can they find you, Amp and Mr. Kristopher?
If you want to let me know some of your favorite kinky AI sex bots that you need me to test thoroughly to make sure that they work properly, you can find me at Pup Amp everywhere.
And if you want to watch 4 cranky leather guys sit around and talk about what the world's like today, you can go to onguardsalon.com and watch me and my fellow cohorts there, or mrkristopher.com.
And What's the Safe Words, where we post videos just about every week on the YouTubes, Twitch, Twitter, all the good spaces. You can find us at What's the Safe Word. But thank you again, Evie, for having us today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, links to everything will be down below, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye.